Hello and welcome to the final whistle with me, Daniel Waterson, looking back at Saturday's 0-0 draw with Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Coming up in this episode, James and myself discuss the match. We have post-match reaction from Neil Lennon and Effie Ambrose. No goal highlights obviously, so let's just dive straight into all the match analysis.
James, last week I missed an 8-goal thriller. Can't help but feel partly to blame that it's 0-0 at Pittodrie today. But on paper 0-0 at Pittodrie is a good result, but I can't help but feel that it's 2 points dropped.
Yeah, I think tense is probably the best way to describe that, to be honest with you. It was an odd game in the second half. It didn't look like either side really wanted to win. It looked like both were quite happy to sort of sit and play for a draw, which is, no matter kind of what game you're watching, it's always frustrating to see that. Like you say, in any sort of normal circumstances, coming up to Pittodrie and a ground that we don't have a particularly good record at anyway, and getting a point would be fantastic. But it does feel slightly, let down maybe. Yeah, it does feel a little bit like a let. It's a bit disappointing. It's a bit frustrating. We're still up there. We're still in the race for second, but we're a little bit further away than we were.
Yeah, I think
last week.
The Rangers scored about 3 or 4 minutes from the end at Ibrox. If that had finished 0-0 there, it would have been a good result, but there's a lot left to do for the race for second, and you can't help but feel we now need to win. In fact, what we do, we simply have to win our last 2 games and hope some results go our way elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was always true. I think it was always pretty clear that we were going to have to just keep winning and keep doing what we have been doing since the winter break. Now it's imperative that we do that. But I mean, we should have every confidence that we have the squad capable of doing that. We have 2, I hasten to use the phrase, cup finals coming up, but effectively 2 cup finals if we want to get into second place, against Hearts and against Rangers. And there can't be many other motivating factors than that. Game against Hearts and a game against Rangers, with all this riding on it as well. I don't think Lennon will have to have any team talk, really, to be honest, before either of those games. I'm sure everybody will be right up for it, and it's like we've said on this, for the past 6 or 7 weeks, it's always better to be in this race than outside it, and we're in it.
Well, that's it. It's like coming up to the game today, I had no idea what to expect, but I enjoyed having that kind of cup final feeling in the pit of my stomach, with that kind of the nerves and all that, and it's refreshing to kind of have that feeling back, as horrible as it is.
It is, and it's an exciting end to the season. We have every reason to be excited. It's been frustrating being down in the Championship for 3 years and looking up at the top 3 or 4 teams in the league and thinking, I don't think we're any worse than that. And now we're proven. Now we're getting a chance to prove it. We've already secured a top 4 finish, which in our first season back in the Premiership is a fantastic result. You always kind of feel that anything on top of that's a bonus, and we now have it, or we could, be sitting here next Sunday with it all in our hands, and that's a fantastic position to be in.
Yeah, so we'll take it right back to the beginning. No changes to the starting lineup from last week. Dylan McGee returned to the bench sporting a quite fantastic Zorro-esque mask. Yeah. Nice to see David Gray back on the bench for the first time this year as well. Game kicks off, I think within about 15-20 seconds. Anthony O'Connor picks up a yellow card. Martin Boyle early on plays in a great floating cross that's just begging for someone to be there, but it just goes by Lewis. And then about a minute or 2 after that, brilliant work from Scott Allen. He plays in Jamie McLaren, and there's no complaints. It's a Stonewall penalty.
No, I mean, I think the ref might come in for a bit of criticism today. He didn't really let the game flow at many points, and then there was other times he let a lot of things go. He seemed to be sort of booking people at random at some points, for really kind of minor things. There's a few bookings that were warranted, which I'm sure we will talk about. But yeah, I mean, there can't be any complaints. It's a clumsy challenge from Anthony O'Connor. It's a great movement from Jamie McLaren to get into that position in the first place, and yeah, no complaints from me, definite penalty.
Yeah, so McLaren steps up. There's no such thing as a bad penalty, I suppose, when you score one, but Jamie McLaren's one at Ibrox. It's kind of down the middle to the side. Fodering goes early. He tries the same thing again today. Joe Lewis seen it coming. I think we all seen it coming, and in the end, fair enough, it's a good save, but it's a poor penalty.
Yeah, and I mean, to give you an idea of what the view is like from the press box at Pittodrie, there's kind of a small sort of advertising board just above the press bench, and a massive pillar in the way of the goal at the other end of the pitch, and we're about 100 yards away from it. But even, you know, from this distance, as soon as it left his foot, you could tell it wasn't going in. And I think if we can tell it from here, Joe Lewis can probably tell. It's not a great penalty. Fair play to Joe Lewis, because it still has to be saved, and he does get down well to make that save. But you know, I'm sure, you know, Jamie wouldn't need us to tell him that. You know, I'm sure he'll understand that it wasn't the best penalty in the world.
No, and from there, Hibs continue to be on top. Scott Allen and Canberra linked up nicely a couple of times. There's a few really nice balls from Scott Allen that were just not getting that little bit of luck to break through. And then it's about 25 minutes into the game. Martin Boyle, very similar cross to the one at the start. This time Jamie McLaren is there to meet the cross, completely unmarked, 4 or 5 yards out, and there's no other way to put it than it looks like a complete sitter.
It does, and you know, it kind of feels like we're giving him a bit of a hard time at the moment, but you know, I suppose for things like that, and you know, when you would expect him to absolutely bury the header, given the form that he's shown since he came in, it's disappointing. I'm sure he'll be absolutely gutted, and I'm sure he'll know that he should have hit the back of the net there. It's a great ball in by Martin Boyle. Fair play to McLaren. It's great movement to actually get into that position. He is, you know, the ultimate poacher almost. You know, he's right in there, and he's that kind of movement that he's got his goals from so far, you know, since he's joined Hibs. But you know, that one's one that got away. You know, and you kind of look back at the end of the game and think he's had 2 really good chances, and we've not taken them both, and that's really sort of the difference today. Yeah,
and it's a testament to how good McLaren has been for us since coming in, that he scored 5 goals, 4 or 5 goals, and this is the first time since arriving that we're kind of bemoaning missed chances from him, because in the weeks prior to that he's been tucking them away.
Yeah, and he's usually so clinical, and his movement today was good. You know, he was dragging O'Connor all over the place for most of the first half, and for most of the period of the game where we were on top. But yeah, it's one of those where you'll want to get out of the system as quickly as possible and put it right on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and then so after that the game kind of it started to balance out a little bit. It became a really sort of captivating watch without there being huge amounts of quality on display. There was a few yellow cards, as we've already mentioned. I think handling got booked. Aberdeen have the first chance, a header from a free kick. Dan McGregor makes a vital block from that, and then McGinn gets booked for absolutely poleaxing Gary Mackay-Steven.
He almost did.
He nearly joined us up the back of the stand.
He nearly put him through the stand. It was an unbelievable challenge, and I mean, I think we were talking about it earlier that for some reason tackles like that, they always seem to be a bit better when they're right on the touchline, or you know, when they're right in front of the dugout. And you know, as I've already described the position that we're in, it's kind of hard to see, but it was, you know, Mackay-Steven was behind the pillar, McGinn came across, and Mackay-Steven was no longer behind the pillar. We didn't know where he'd gone. Like, it rolled out the stadium.
Yeah, I think for all those who are kind of feel nostalgic about the old East Stand as well, if you sit in this end at Pittodrie, you'll realise that you don't really miss it that much.
Well, from our benefit, we don't really miss it that much. We can actually see now, but yeah, it was a strong challenge. I think it's the kindest way we can put it.
And then Shea Logan gets booked. Aberdeen have probably the closest they come to scoring in the entire 90 minutes. A soft free kick again. Niall McGinn steps up, absolutely rattles the crossbar with it. Hibs go up the other end, and Mackay-Steven wipes out, I want to say, Scott Allen when he's on the counter attack. Half time comes, and it's been pulsating. It's been a real kind of end-to-end battle, and 2 teams that were giving it their all.
Yeah, it's a cracking effort from Niall McGinn as well. To be fair to him, you know, it comes right back off the post.
The stanchion, can we call it?
Yeah, it comes back off the stanch. Off the stanch. Marciano was nowhere near it. It was really unlucky, and I suppose, you know, it's one of those where you think, how's your luck at one end where we missed the penalty, and at the other with that one coming back out. But it kind of all seemed, you know, set up for what was going to be a really, really good second half. But you know, as is often the case, the sequel is not quite as good as the original, and it wasn't the best second half.
No, it did go very Jurassic Park 2 in the second half. Yeah.
More reaction shortly, but let's hear the post-match thoughts of Neil Lennon speaking with Cliff.
Neil, a nothing each draw, ultimately nothing resolved. As 0-0 draws went, it was pretty entertaining, but you probably feel we might have won that one.
No, I do feel we should have won it. You know, we had the better chances, and restricted Aberdeen to very, very little. They're always going to be, with the height they've got in the team, a threat at set players. We expected that, but we dealt with that. I don't remember Marciano having a lot to do. And by the stadium announcer, the goalkeeper got man of the match, so it speaks volumes for the way we played, and we should have won.
Absolutely, you come up to a place like this, never an easy place to come. Not many teams go away from here with a win. We haven't gone away from a win. Jamie McLaren will be disappointed that he didn't put that penalty kick away.
Yeah, well, I mean, you score some, you miss some, but he didn't strike it anywhere near well enough, and I mean, it's a comfortable save. It's not like Jamie, you know, normally gives it the laces, and then he's a great chance for the header, you know, 10 minutes later, and just wasn't his day. You know, I thought we were a little bit tepid up front first half, but it was attritional at times, and I thought we dealt with anything that Aberdeen threw us very comfortably, and we went on to create some good chances second half. And disappointed that we haven't come away with the 3 points, but you know, a point away at Pittodrie at this stage of the season's very impressive.
As we say, it's not resolved anything. Although Rangers won today, there's still not a lot in it. This could go down to the final day of the season.
I hope so. I mean, Rangers have got Aberdeen on Wednesday, so something's got to give there. But we just got to take care of our own games, and you know, 7 points from the first 3 games is excellent. So we go into the game on Wednesday with a lot of confidence, and you know, hopefully we can take it to the last game against Rangers, where you know, anything can happen.
Small matter of an Edinburgh derby, of course, just a wee game on Wednesday night to deal with there.
Yeah, but they're all big games, you know. So again, we've taken each game as it comes, and you know, I'm delighted. The players are giving me everything, and we've got ourselves in a great position, and it's in a brilliant unbeaten run. So it's championship form, you know, since the turn of the year. So you know, it's a statement of intent, not just for now, but for next season. That you know, we're not going to come here and be intimidated or deal with hostile crowds. We can do that. They've grown they've come a long way this season, and I hope that stands them in good stead going into the future seasons.
Football's a funny game, isn't it? A lot of it is the mental side of it and how you cope with that and the pressure, and the guys are now learning that side of it. Previously you described Hibs as being a bit of a boy band side, but they seem to have lost that now.
Yeah, I mean, well, today's evident of that. You know, clean sheet, and the goalkeeper was strong when he needed to be on crosses, and the likes of McGregor, Hanlon, Ambrose defended the box brilliantly. We were strong in midfield. I thought Whittaker was outstanding in there, and we looked a big, strong team, and we're sprinkled with quality as well. So, you know, we're disappointed not to come away with the win, and like I said, that speaks volumes for the performances and how far we've come.
You opted to go with the same starting 11. Dylan McGee came on later on in the game there, wearing the mask, looked a bit like Zorro, we thought, but he took one in the face, a clearance, but he's okay.
I think he's fine, yeah. I mean, he's been a bit ginger on it, and we had a chat about it yesterday, and he was comfortable with what we were asking. You know, we wanted to give him 10-15 minutes today just to let him get adjusted to it. It was a difficult one for him to start, but the way Whittaker's playing, you know, in that position, he does it very, very well. And obviously Dylan is a key player to have coming up for these 2 games, and hopefully psychologically he's got past that now.
It's just a case of a bit of rest and relaxation just before the derby on Wednesday night.
Absolutely, it'll be just a little bit of prep work, and long trip back obviously, but it's been well worth the trip.
The second half starts. I was kind of surprised to see Aberdeen make the change. Greg Stewart comes on for Stevie May. I suppose understandable, it showed up in the midfield, because at that point Hibs were bossing the midfield.
Yeah, I don't think, to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed with Stevie May. I think, you know, if I'm in Aberdeen's position, I'm a bit more disappointed in him. He didn't offer all that much. He seems kind of, you know, obviously he's had his problems with injury since he's gone down south. Sheffield Wednesday and then Preston, I think it was. And I know he was out for a long time there, and it's kind of hard to be sort of overly critical of him in that respect, but he seems a sort of different player to the one who was banging them in for St Johnstone a couple of years ago. But yeah, it was credit to Hibs, that substitution, because we're forcing Aberdeen, who are a good side, into a change like that. I thought Greg Stewart did quite well when he came on. I thought he made it a little bit more solid in midfield. Yeah, it kind of gave Graham Shinney a little bit of cover in midfield as well. Obviously, John McGinn being on a yellow card, I think, kind of helped that. He's almost operating at like half capacity.
That's it. There was so many. I think I could count at least 4 occasions in the second half where there's a ball and it's maybe going to be a 50-50, and any other time John McGinn is going for that, and he's going hell for leather for it. But small matter of time, Castle on Wednesday, so I think he was under strict instructions to be on his best behaviour for that second half.
And he was, because I think we'd said that with both Hanlon and McGinn on the yellow card, one of them's going to go. Don't know who it's going to be, but I mean, managed to get them both on the pitch, which is great for us.
With the change and they seem to go sort of 4-5-1, kind of 4-2-3-1 Aberdeen, and they started to take control, I felt, in the second half. Their crosses were really dangerous. Cosgrove had one from a corner, Ambrose blocked it and then it scrambled clear. Darren McGregor headed one right across his own box, but Hibs then have the next shot on target, and it's McGinn from about 25-30 yards, and it's a decent save from Joe Lewis and a good effort for John McGinn.
It was one of the only times John McGinn actually got sort of free in that second half as well. He gets a yard. It's weird because the ball's it's bobbling rather than bouncing. I think it's from a throw-in, an Ambrose throw-in, I think. There was a moment where it looked like he was going to blast it, and then he takes another touch. I suppose that when the ball's kind of sitting at the height it was, the first time, it can either go flying at the top corner or it can go flying over the stand. You kind of think, it would have taken something really special to win this game today. That could have been it. He ends up taking another touch, and it's a good strike to get away. It's another good stop from Joe Lewis, but it was kind of, one of very few chances, a real chance that we created in the second half.
Yeah, we were discussing it. The sub, what are we going to do? Do we take the risk McGinn and Hanlon staying on the pitch? The Hibs go for the win. Aberdeen looked comfortable with the point. You started to get the impression that Neil Lennon was kind of happy enough with the point as well. So the first change comes, and you called it, McLaren comes off for Brandon Barker. Surprised to see Barker go up front?
Yeah, I thought he might move Martin Boyle up front and put Barker out wide. I suppose you're kind of then trying to balance up Martin Boyle's defensive capabilities with Brandon Barker's, in which case you really think, well, fair enough then. It kind of, I think you're right in what you say there, that it almost seemed like both sides were quite happy with that 0-0.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were sitting, you're weighing up the permutations of, well, do you sit and hope Kilmarnock score? What do you do if Rangers score? And when we are changing our opinion on what the sub should be every 30 seconds, it means that down in the dugout is that 10 times tougher. Do you go for it and lose, then Kilmarnock end up winning, and then it's such a horrible but I suppose nice position to be in, to have all this going through your mind if you're Neil Lennon.
It is, and it's going back to what we said right at the start, and it's exciting to be in this because you don't know what's going to happen, but at the same time it's frustrating because you're weighing up risk against reward. It was good to see Barker come on because I thought he did really well when he came on against Kilmarnock. He scores a great goal. I thought he did well when he came on against Celtic, and it was brilliant in the last 5-10 minutes and keeping our lead at what it was. At the same time, you would have expected a bit more attacking intent when that sub gets made, and that didn't really happen.
No.
Which I think goes back to our both managers at that stage. I think about 25 minutes to go, thinking, well, actually we'll just take that point.
Well, the next change we make's Dylan McGeer comes on for Zorro. Scott Allen. Zorro takes to the field. Forgot his cape, but just the mask.
Did. Forgot his sword.
But within 30 seconds, we then at that point thought, well, Scott Allen's off McGee, so we're happy, we're kind of sitting comfortably on this. But McGinn and McGeer immediately with beautiful link-up play. Flo Canberry is played in, it's right in front of us, and the angle was just too tight by the time he gets the shot away. Yeah, and it's one of those things where you kind of look at that and think, well, McLaren's gone off now, and it's perhaps that he would have been in that a better position for Canberry to pass it across goal. Safe starts to be made from Joe Lewis. I think Canberry's intelligent. He doesn't go across goal. He goes near post. It's a decent enough save, but it was one of those where you kind of after that you think it doesn't look like either side's going to get anything here, to be honest. It fizzles out from there. Aberdeen have a half chance with Mark Reynolds putting one into the side net from a corner. Half a shout for a penalty at the end. I think Boyle is pushed. But there's little to no complaint from the Hibs players, but I'd like to see it again.
Yeah, it'd be good to see it back. It's interesting that it's almost the classic Martin Boyle foul, really, to be honest. He gets across the defender, bundles into the back of him, they both go over. I think the fact that there weren't a lot of appeals from Martin Boyle, or really from the rest of his teammates, maybe slightly persuades me that it was just that, you know, it's just a tangle of legs, that, you know, it's possibly not a foul, but at the same time, you know, at this stage of the season, you're screaming for it. So it would be interesting to see that back. At the moment, I mean, it possibly wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not seen it back, but I'm going to say it was absolutely 100% a penalty. No bias whatsoever. If the Aberdeen fans could scream and moan at absolutely everything for 90 minutes, so can I.
Now let's hear from Effie Ambrose speaking with Hibs TV after the match.
Effie, that was an entertaining 0-0 draw, and at the end of it, nothing is really resolved as far as second, third and fourth place is concerned.
Yeah, for us, doors are still open for second, third. So for us, we still keep going. Well, we came here with a mindset, with a plan. The most important thing is we don't want to get beat, because we know getting beat by Aberdeen, that means the automatic spot for second or third place is gone. When we know 6 points and 2 games to go, the pressure set on us. So we came here with a mindset of winning and not losing. So that was our game plan. And at the end, new draw is not bad, but still, we still look forward to the next game.
I think, looking at the way the game went, we'd probably be disappointed not to win the game.
Well, we had opportunities, they have theirs, but the most important thing is staying in the game. That's what really matters to us, because we know keeping a clean sheet really important here, because the last time we came here, we know how we felt in the dressing room, and we know what happened. We didn't give 100% or 150% of all our abilities. We lost the game because of our poor performance. So when we came back here, the gaffer kept bringing it in our head and our performance and everything the last time we came here. So we owe them one. So the most important thing for us is just step up and show the consistency we've been doing since the second half of the season. And as you can see, the team is getting stronger and stronger. And I believe we're doing well, not doing bad, but the most important thing today is that unlucky we lost the penalty, which will have given us the edge and making us to get control of the game. But still, we never took our head off the game and off the ball. We want to be concentrated in the game and fully aware of their tricks and everything they've got, because we know their dangerous side. They look like if they don't know what they're doing, but tactically they're sound. So we understand, and we knew them. We've played them third time, this is the fourth time, so we already knew their style of play. So we just stick by it and we work with the game plan of the gaffer.
We look very solid at the back. Yourself, Darren McGregor, Paul Hanlon. Ophir Marciano didn't have a lot of saves to make, so we did well at the back today. Yeah,
we know, because we know. We just know their main threat is set pieces and long ball and second ball. So we work on that, and that's what really kept us in the game. Because when they don't have any chance in their set pieces or throwing everything they have, because they are so dangerous in set pieces. So we're able to deal with that. That's why you see they don't really have anything other game plan to really hurt us apart from the set pieces. So we understood and we stick by our game plan, and we go for every ball. We try to win every ball in the air, try to get the second ball, which we really dealt with this time, and really helped us in the game.
It's a measure of how far this Hibs team has grown to come up from the Championship and be competing for second place in the Premiership at this late stage of the season, and with so many big games that we've had recently. The guys have handled the pressure superbly.
Well, I believe the coaching crew, the gaffer, the management and everybody, the fans, I think it's a collective team, because everybody has contributed one way or the other. So the team has been solid, not just the players, but the whole team, from the development to the staff and everybody. I think we've grown from strength to strength, just as I've said, and the player that came in the second half of the season really made us better, and that has really helped us to settle down in the way the gaffer wants us to play. So that has really kept our season going, and since then we'll never look back.
And from your point of view, you like to play football from the back, and with players like John McGinn, Dylan McGee or Scott Allen in front of you, it allows you to do that. Yeah, of course. Sometimes, for me, the gaffer knows me. I don't like kicking. I always like to play. I always like to play in the midfield and get control of the game, because sometimes when you kick, you bring back the pressure. So for me, I don't like that. So I would always try to find a way for us to play. And because I know we have good players that can hold the ball, that can play. So why kick the ball when we have the player that can play football? So sometimes we just try to mix it, because we know sometimes the pitch is not suitable for us. He will tell us to turn them. So we just try to mix the game, and since then, I think we've really gone from knowing how to play and how to dominate the game, when to kick and when to hold the ball. We really helped ourselves out, and we've done so much to really improve ourselves. The big games keep coming. The small matter of an Edinburgh derby on Wednesday night, one to look forward to? Well, it's one of those games again, and it's from
because we know the split, every game is very important, and every game is like a cup final. So for us, we're not thinking about the derby, we're thinking about football match, football game, because the most important thing is winning the game. That's the most important thing for us. We don't want the 3 points is the most ultimate. The derby is the derby. The fans, that is for them to come and enjoy. But the most important thing, we know our focus, our aim is to really fight for the second spot. So Heart is on our way, and we have to match them toe-to-toe.
That was it. That was the final whistle went not long after that. It's a 0-0 draw that both teams are going to be content with, but that late Rangers goal at Ibrox kind of changes everything in the race for second.
It does, but I suppose for us, to try and sort of look at this in the most positive way, we could be sitting here in a week's time with it all still being in our hands. We have 2 massive games. We already talked about the motivation and necessarily need to be motivated, but 2 games against Hearts and Rangers, you couldn't really ask for kind of more to. I mean, you get the fans on side, and B, you get the players up for it. We're still in touch. I think there's 3 points between second and fourth. Aberdeen and Rangers play here on Wednesday. Something has to give there. So we're still in it. We have to just keep playing the way we've been playing since January, and it will come. We've beaten Hearts already this season, beaten Rangers already this season twice, beaten Hearts already this season twice. We shouldn't really have anything to fear from either of those teams, and the fact that we're still sitting here with 2 games to go and with everything to play for is brilliant. I'm actually looking forward to the end of the season. In a weird sort of way I didn't ever think I'd say.
There was 2012 Hibs fans, brilliant away back, incredible away back. You said at the start you can't remember seeing so many Hibs fans visiting Pittodrie. There's going to be another 3.5 at Tynecastle on Wednesday night. Hearts appear to have just kind of switched off. I watched them against Rangers, and for want of a better word, they were absolutely pitiful at Ibrox. But it's an Edinburgh derby, so
it's a completely different game. I'm sure there will be 1 or 2 Hearts players who, at this stage, probably already on the beach. I think Hearts have enough, players in that dressing room who know what the Edinburgh derby means to both sets of fans, who'll be able to snap them out of that pretty quickly. This is their game of the season, really, for them. It's their chance to stop us doing something. They're going to be up for it. We have to be up for it, and I think we will be. I don't think there's going to be any shrinking violence in this Hibs team, but I'm sure. I think it kind of feels like we say this before every Edinburgh derby. It's going to be a great game, and it never quite lives up to the hype. But this one, which does have quite a lot riding on it, it's probably going to be tense. It's probably going to be a, for want of a better phrase, classic derby. But it's going to be interesting to watch.
It will be, in the sense that we know how Hearts are going to set up. They're going to have everyone behind the ball, and with the way results have panned out today, Wednesday is now must win. Like today, you kind of felt was must win, but a draw still wasn't the end of the world. But Wednesday is must win, and that means Hibs need to come out all guns blazing, and it's just going to be attack against defence.
It is, and you've said it there. It's not as if we're going at this game and wondering how Hearts are going to set up, and how they're going to counter the pace of Boyle and Barker, and no, because we know exactly how they're going to set up. They're going to have whatever it is, 9 players standing across the line of the box, 1 guy up front, and they're all going to charge forward. If they get like a sniff. Other than that, you're right, it's going to be like watching, I don't want to say it's going to be like watching a training exercise, but it is going to be watching attack against defence. It's not going to be a fearsome tactical battle, this. It's going to be really whoever wants it more, and we just have to want it more.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. Subscribe now to Radio Hibs through SoundCloud or iTunes to ensure you never miss a show. Please feel free to comment and join the debate on whatever platform you're listening on as well. Extended highlights from Saturday are now available, and indeed from all this season's other games, as well as a huge archive of other classics all on Hibs TV. Next up is Tynecastle on Wednesday. Tickets are sold out, but join the team on Hibs TV for live coverage with live commentary available for all subscribers and the match being broadcast for international subscribers. Until then, my thanks to James Delaney as always for joining me. Thank you for listening, and join us next time for all the aftermath from Tynecastle.